2, 1, action.
Hey everybody, it's Lynn and this is Liam. And you are watching the Ins and Outs with Lynn and Liam, or Liam and Lynn, where we talk about articles that we thought were interesting this week, and we chat about them and make jokes and try to do a little bit of teaching. This week we're talking about anal sex and menstruation, and so it should be a really fun conversation. And I think, Liam, you're going to start with your article.
Yep, I'm going to start with mine. And I have some notes, so while I'm looking over, that's because I'm reading my notes about my article. And so my article today was entitled Buttstravaganza, and it is by a person named Luna Matatas. And they write for this website called O-School, which, before I talk about this article, let me just talk about this website. O.school.com is phenomenal. I just found out about it.
Oh.
And it has like the dopest articles ever. And they have like YouTube videos of people talking about sex and stuff. Highly, highly recommend. If you're like an educator or just want to know more about sex, check out o.school.com.
Or, do you know, Liam, if you are an educator who wants to create content, I think there's an opportunity, because when we went to the sex ed conference, do you remember Sister Nurse Joy?
Mm-hmm.
They do content on O-School too, and I think they were found at the sex ed conference.
Oh, that's really cool.
So if you're like an educator and you're like, oh, I have some things to say, I think O-School does do, like, they source content too.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that. I think they have like a part of their website where you can be like, get involved and stuff.
I think you can make money too. I think like views and something.
Probably. They seem to be really like conscious about getting people, paid for their work. And also like they're socially conscious. I think they're really into, making sure people of all different ethnicities and ability statuses and genders have their voices heard. So like it's a really great
sexual interests, because we're about to read Buttstravaganza.
Yeah. And so it was written by this, I think they identify it as a female, Luna Matatas, and she loves butt stuff, she has said. She is a butt connoisseur, and the article, it also comes along with a 40-minute video of her talking about anal sex. And so it's just chock full of everything you would want to know about anal sex. Some of like the key aspects of it that I wrote down is that she was talking about, like, if you're trying to experiment with anal sex because like you're interested in it, you don't have to jump right to penetrative anal sex, which a lot of people think, like, you just have to put something in your butt to be having anal sex. And in reality, you can do so much more that's not just putting things in your butt, and it still counts as like anal sex. They talk about how the folds of the butt, of like the butthole, how like they're all full of nerve endings, and just like a vagina and a penis during sexual arousal, how those parts of the body fill up with blood, the butthole also fills up with blood, and the blood kind of makes the nerve endings more stimulating, just like it does for the clitoris and just like it does for the penis. And so just like stimulating those with your fingers, with lube on them, can be really fun. If your partner, wants to use like their tongue or their mouth to do it, it also can be really stimulating and fun. They also talked about making anal play more okay and like acceptable, because a lot of people find it to be a taboo subject, especially straight men, right? A lot of straight guys like find anal sex or like any sort of like touching their butthole to be like really gay. And so she talks about how we really need to break down those stereotypes. And I actually have I was hanging out with a friend of mine the other day, a group of friends of mine, and one of them mentioned they are straight presenting, that they made like a joke about sometimes they like their butthole to be touched. And the other guys in the group who were also straight presenting, like, jumped in, like, oh, that's gross, like, nobody wants their butthole touched, blah, blah. And this dude just, like, shut up and didn't, like, mention or defend it at all. And I felt so bad for the poor guy, because I'm like, he probably does, like, a little butt stimulation, and that's totally fine and okay and healthy.
Well, plus a lot of people do, right? Like,
yeah.
I guess my theory of the case is, especially, like, if we're teaching, when we teach teenagers, I think the statistic is, like, 1 out of 6 teenagers engage in some sort of anal behavior, anal activity, while in school, but they're all like, this is so gross. And it's like, statistically, you all can't think this. So like, you might be saying it, but like, if we were to count off 1, 2, 3, 1, or 1, 2, you know, there'd be 4 of you or 3 of you who are into it.
Yeah.
And so like, I think there are people who say they think it's gross, but in my experience with anything is accurate, people will try to put their penis in your butt without asking all the time.
Oh yeah.
So I think there's like a little inconsistency there is my point.
I saw a meme on the internet the other day where it was like, it talked about like when it slips in her butt and she says it's okay or something, and I was like, I can't believe that's like a fantasy of people.
You mean flipping it in their butt without asking, and then they're like, okay, it's cool, keep going?
Yeah, it's like that you're having sex with the vagina and then it just like somehow accidentally slips into the butt. I don't know if that's like possible or not, if that's like something straight people like do. But I guess
think
it is.
would have to be very lubricated. Like there'd have to be a lot of fluids for it to slip that easily. But people do say it slips.
Yeah.
And I think that might be them engaging in maybe non-consensual behavior.
It does sound like not like they're more aiming for it than they're like just slipping.
But like if like what do people search on pornography? Like anal is like a high search term. And so I agree, like your friend like showed all their vulnerability and they were shot down. But the truth is like it's impossible. Like the amount of searches on Pornhub.com show that like people are interested in anal sex.
Yeah. And like, I mean, yeah, they're interested in having anal sex with someone else, but they're also interested probably in like having their own anus stimulated as a straight dude.
Yeah.
And again, it's like totally fine. Butthole has tons and tons of nerve endings around it that feel pleasurable. That's why people love like eating out the booty. And also for dudes especially, like the prostate is stimulated through the anal sex or through anal penetration. And that, again, it feels amazing. It's like the male G-spot. Shayla the other day called it the P-spot, I think.
Really?
Yeah, we were having a conversation about it, and she called it the P-spot. And I was like, oh, is that? Because at first I was like, P-spot, is that like your penis? And I was like, oh no, prostate. A couple other things I liked about this article is that on top of talking about like non-penetrative anal sex, she also talked about how we should expand like anal intercourse, where like we don't even need to focus on the butthole itself. We can focus on the crack, the taint, rubbing like the thighs and the butt cheeks to kind of do almost like a massage kind of thing. And how that can just like break you into anal sex and get you a little more comfortable just being in that general area. And just kind of like get you ready to, if you want to, move on to more penetrative anal sex. And I thought it was really like, yeah, like start slow. Start with like maybe like the outside, nice like leg massage, and then work your way to
like anal foreplay.
Yeah, definitely. Because
like you don't just put your penis in somebody's vagina right away. You like touch their boobs and stuff.
Yeah.
Like why would you just go straight to the butt?
Foreplay is really important for everything. And like for vaginal sex, right, it's really important because like it lubricates the vagina. But for anal sex, it's really important because I think it doesn't lubricate the anus, obviously, because the anus, not obviously, just for people who don't know, the anus is not self-lubricating. So like foreplay is not going to lubricate the anus or anything, but it can just like, make you horny and make you like excited to have penetrative anal sex. And if you're excited to do it, you're probably going to be more relaxed about it. And it will not hurt as much and it will just be much more pleasurable if you're more relaxed. But she does mention, if you're about to have anal sex, the worst thing to tell someone is just relax. Because, like, nobody wants to hear that.
Well, as, like, a woman who's always being told to relax, being told to relax is the least relaxing thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Right?
Like,
it makes me stressed.
Yeah. And, like when I was a kid, I would read, like, you know, how to make anal sex more pleasurable, things like that, because I was really interested about it. And, like, all these things would be like, it feels like you're going to poop, and just go with that feeling and push like you're going to poop. And I'm like, I don't want to push like I'm going to poop. Like, that's the worst thing to think when I'm about to have anal sex. That's like, oh, like, yeah.
I do think that's one of people's fears, though. Like, there's, like, a deep fear around anal sex, which is, like, what is it going to be like? You know, how does it feel? Am I going to go to the bathroom? And so, like, I think her advice of, you know, doing some foreplay around the butt makes sense because, like, just slowly, gradually, and then you're more relaxed and because the least sexy thing is when you're worried, right? Like when you try to have sex and you're like really stressed out about something else, it's like, oh my God, this is not fun. And so I can only imagine how stressful it would be to be like, oh my God, am I gonna go to the bathroom during this? And like you can't have pleasurable sex that way. You're terrified.
Yeah, because your mind's always somewhere else. And
yeah, somewhere very embarrassing too, because like that might be your worst fear, right? Like,
oh yeah,
that would be hard to recover from.
That's a lot of people's worst fear. Well, yeah, that's definitely a lot of
people's.
And
that leads into my article later, but we'll wait on that.
Yes, it definitely does lead into your article. But so one thing I also liked about her video, not so much in the article, but in the video, she went into like a 10-minute detailed description of anal anatomy, which oftentimes, like, even in my teaching of anatomy, I skip anal anatomy. But there's a lot of like really interesting things about anal anatomy that kind of like make you feel more relaxed about having sex. And it's because like majorly there's like a few sphincters in your anus, and most poop is held behind one of the sphincters that's far back where the penis isn't really gonna go. So worrying about like having poop in your like rectal cavity where the sex is gonna happen it's not unfounded, because it definitely does happen, but you don't have to worry about it as much because most of the fecal matter is held behind this farther back sphincter.
Yeah, do you know, local people, Evergreen, at least they used to, they do an anal anatomy lesson.
Oh yeah.
Have you taken it?
I think I took like the Pride Center one. Like this dude, gentleman, person, older adult, Jimmy, taught us, and but he was at the Pride Center.
Oh, well, I know Evergreen does it too, and I'm pretty sure I took it with Evergreen. But like, yeah, it's not just like a butthole and like a tube to your stomach, right? It's like very complicated.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, people just think like, oh, poop just comes out of it, and like your poop's always in there, just waiting to come out. And it's not.
Right, it's just like waiting there right on the edge. If that were the case, like every time you sneezed, you would accidentally shit yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. Or like every time like, you sit on the toilet, right? But yeah, this cough just like shoots it out. Which kind of like, it leads into your article too, because I learned just a couple weeks ago that when girls sneeze and they're on their period blood shoots out. And I was like shocked by that.
Worse. I mean, not a lot, but some. So I was thinking, Liam, what do you think would be good tips if you are interested in engaging in anal behavior? Why do I keep saying behavior? Activities? What's the word?
Behaviors, activities, intercourse.
I think play is weird. No, because I don't want it to just be intercourse. I want it to be like fingers, mouths, whatever. Anal activities. How do you think people should bring it up to their partner?
So that can be a hard conversation, right? Especially, I mean, like with some people, like with gay people, it's an easy conversation. It's a more awkward conversation if you're like, actually, I don't like anal sex, which some gay guys don't like anal sex, either top or bottom. They just don't like it. And so that's a hard conversation to have with your partner. But for straight people, it probably can be a difficult conversation. I think if you're married, maybe it might be easier. Or if like you're dating, it might be easier. I think kids sometimes maybe have a hard time with it because they're worried like, if I say I want to have anal, are they gonna think I'm like slutty?
Or gay.
Yeah, or gay. Yeah, especially if it's a straight guy or a straight presenting guy who is telling his girlfriend like, hey, like I like a finger in my butt. Definitely that can contain a lot of like stigma around it. And it shouldn't, but it can. And so working through those emotions and like having a partner you feel safe enough to talk about it with is really important.
Yeah, especially if you're going to engage in anal sex, because it is a behavior that requires some communication.
Definitely. And so she actually talks about tips of like, if you are going to engage in anal intercourse or anal play, what to do. And definitely like, start off slow, play with the outside, communicate what you like. So if you really enjoy them playing with the outside, like tell them like, yeah, it feels really great. Start with something small, like maybe just a finger. Although fingers have nails on them and that can be a little intrusive in your anus. So you can also start with like a small toy. She talked about anal beads and how those can help a lot because they kind of like pop in and like open the sphincter, but then it closes again around like the smaller part. And so it can kind of like get you ready for opening your sphincter larger. Lube, hella important when you're talking about anal sex, right? Because it's not self-lubricating. So tons and tons of lube is really, really important. And taking your time, like just slowly opening up the sphincters, especially like the first times you're doing it. But even not, like even if you're like an old pro, taking your time, like just loosening it up is like really, really important. Because if you can loosen it up, it can make it feel much more pleasurable. And it can last longer and things like that.
Yeah. I always recommend, so to teenagers, if they're interested in putting their mouth on somebody's butt, which by the way, the Latin word for that is analingus, which is, my husband teaches Latin, so it's an overlapping of our interests. Teaching sex ed and teaching Latin, that is. You can always use a dental dam, right? Because it's a barrier that you put on the butthole. And so like, oh, I'm really afraid because what if their butt's gross? Which by the way, you should clean your butt. But it's like a physical barrier that can like lead you in slowly.
Definitely. You can
Or
also
watching porn together. I think watching porn together might be a good way to start the conversation.
Yeah. And
like, hey, would you like that?
If your partner wants you to do that and you don't want to, but you want to pleasure them, but you also feel uncomfortable putting your mouth on their butt, you can lick your knuckle and rub your knuckle on it, and it has a very similar sensation.
Oh, that is some solid advice there, Liam.
Yeah. Not that I would ever want like a kid to do something they don't want to do, but we also want to please our partners a lot of times, and we want to figure out a way that we can get them to that satisfaction without breaking our comfort zone. So that is a nice middle ground.
Right, like we're talking about not non-consensual, but like, hey, I really want to pleasure my partner, but I'm stressed out, or like the desire is there, but there's some mental concerns.
Yeah. And maybe after a few times, you might be like, you know what? I can put my tongue down there and like work your way up to it. Just like you work your way up to anal penetration, you might have to work your way up to putting your mouth on your partner's anus if that's something that you both really want to do.
Plus, you do work your way up to having sex. Like nobody, very few people go from like no behavior to like sex. Like we forget that there's all sorts of steps in penis and vagina sex. So like, of course, there should be steps in other types of sex.
Definitely.
I mean, I guess some people do just like go from, oh, hey, Liam, to like doing it, but it's very uncommon.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some shorter foreplay sessions and some longer foreplay sessions in my life.
Okay, are you ready for my article? Do you have anything else to add?
No, that's everything. Do you have anything to add about mine?
No, I thought it was very interesting. I find anal sex to be a stressful topic for me personally, so I found this very enjoyable.
Excellent.
So my article is from The Guardian, which I think is British. Is that right?
Yep.
And it's about the role of menstruation in like pop culture and particularly film. And it centers around, there is a new movie coming out, and Liam will put it in the comments, by the way. So so you can see what this film is called. But it basically talks about a new comedy that's coming out. And in the comedy, there is like an interaction between two partners who like engage in sex. And then the next day, or they engage in sexual activities. And the next day they woke up and there was blood on their faces, which means that whoever the female partner must have been menstruating. And it really just like unpacks the idea of like, when do we see menstruation in like society and how do we frame it? And you know, as somebody who menstruates and who is actually currently menstruating, full disclosure, too much information, but it's not too much information, right? Like if I had a cold and my nose was running, you wouldn't be like, why did she just tell us she has a runny nose? But like the second I say I'm menstruating, people think I'm disgusting.
Although can I say, like, if you have a runny nose and you blow your nose near me, I find that way more disturbing than you telling me you're menstruating.
Really?
Yeah, I hate when people blow their noses near me. It drives me crazy.
I hate the noise when people try to not blow their nose, the sucking up of the snot noise.
I actually, I don't like that, but I definitely prefer that over blowing your nose. Like blowing your nose, just, oh.
Interesting. I blow my nose all the time because I have really bad allergies. Um, anyway, and it talks, one of the interesting parts of the article was that they were talking about one of the reasons that menstruation might be being more normalized in film and TV is because there are more women now working in film and TV. And so like in the past, there was like either no talk or like shameful talk. And it's probably because there's only dudes making movies and TV. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they said like because it was an indie film, they didn't have much pushback, but all the pushback they did have was from men who were like, "Do we really need all this gory blood?" And they're like, "Yes, we do."
Like, I mean, I have had multiple experiences where I did not realize menstruating because the first day that you menstruate, you might not have a lot of blood. And so like you don't know until your vagina is lubricated and then some of the beginning blood comes out. And that can be stressful when you know that the person's going to be like kind of a douche about it.
Yeah, and so I don't have sex with many women, so I don't really know about this much, but like, is it common for women to like start menstruating while they're having sex?
I don't think it's common, but it does happen. And then sometimes what happens is like you're done menstruating or like basically done. And so then you'll have sex, but there might be some like remaining blood, right? Because it's like the vagina's a closed thing. And so, I mean, sometimes there's just blood. Like that's just how it works.
Yeah.
But it's so stressful when it happens because you think your partner is going to be rude to you.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my goodness, they're going to think I did this on purpose. Yeah, but really, sometimes it just happens. I don't know. And spotting happens. I don't know. But one thing that I also so I care about menstruation is pretty significant amount. I hate all euphemisms for menstruation. Like, oh, it's Shark Week, right? No, I'm freaking bleeding from my vagina. It's not Shark Week. Or like Aunt Flo is in town. Like, can we just, it just seems so corny.
Yeah.
Or like red tide. And all of the phrases, Lindy West, do you know Lindy West?
I don't think so.
She wrote the book Shrill, which is also a Netflix show.
Yeah, not a
and
fan
she
of
has like this whole paragraph, like, maybe we wouldn't be so concerned and fearful of menstruation if we didn't call it such awful names, right? Like, nobody calls it, I guess Aunt Flo is nice. If I had an Aunt Flo, I would like it if she came to visit. But like, Shark Week is, people get murdered during Shark Week. I just like, why Shark Week? Because there's blood? Okay, whatever.
I guess maybe like if you go swimming when you're on your period, you'll get a shark attack.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if it's true or not. It's also probably not true that a werewolf is going to turn you into a werewolf just because you're on your period.
Yeah, werewolves don't exist, so.
No, I
don't think.
Says you.
But then the other thing, like part of the article talks about is how nobody's grossed out by things like, oh wait, no, not the article, the Lindy West article I read afterwards. Like nobody's grossed out. There's the freaking poop emoji, right? Like we have normalized feces so much that people like buy pillows in the shape of poop.
That's like, chocolate ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream. If I tell you I'm menstruating, I'm like disgusting, but you might buy a freaking poop emoji. Doesn't that bother you?
So it bothers me a little bit, but also like in the gay world, I think like, you know, having poop occur when you're having anal sex is probably pretty comparable to menstruating on someone's penis. Because like you're worried that your partner's gonna be really upset with you. And usually they're not. Like usually your partner, I've always had just like chill partners who are like, oh, like whatever, it's no big deal. But like personally, you're like, ah.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So Liam, we were talking about this. Would you have sex with somebody if they were on their period?
So I don't know. I don't think so. But it's hard for me to judge it, right? Because like I'm a gay dude who doesn't really have any interest in having a vaginal sex. So I don't know like how much my horniness would overcome my gross there's blood. I do have like a somewhat similar story, kind of. Me and Jay were, you know, fooling around one time, and he got a bloody nose during it. And so like all of a sudden there's blood all over both of our faces. And I was like, gross. But we just like washed the blood off and then just like continued. So maybe I would.
I mean, blood is no different than like saliva or vaginal fluids.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not have sex on, like, depending on the amount of blood, like, the second day of menstruating for me is like blood city. And so, like, I wouldn't want to have to clean up that mess, right? But like day 4, I mean, what is it? It's equal to the amount of vaginal fluid you would make. You would have if you didn't look at your penis, you would not be able to tell the difference between whether you just got your partner really wet or whether it was blood.
Yeah.
Or you could use a condom.
Yeah. But I mean, the blood's still gonna be there, right? And like I'm also like more on the like making a mess aspect, like cleaning your sheets afterwards and trying to get that blood stain out might be annoying.
Yeah. You have to put a towel down.
Yeah.
But not related, but kind of related. Yesterday, somebody fell in my neighborhood while I was out for a walk, and she was gushing blood, and I just like, yeah, I'll help you up. And I'm like, oh wait, this woman's got blood all over, and at no point did I think like, yeah, I can't help her. She's bleeding, so maybe I'm just like not worried about blood.
So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be grossed out about the blood, but I would be concerned for like bloodborne pathogens, right? And
I mean,
that kind of
she's a 90-year-old lady who fell on the sidewalk, so.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on like how much cover, and also if she's like just gushing, covered in blood, I'd probably be like, maybe we should call an ambulance.
It was a lot of blood. We did call an ambulance. Yeah, it was a lot of blood.
I'd be like, stay down, don't move. I don't know if you hurt your neck or anything.
I mean, bloodborne pathogens is a real concern, but if you're having sex with somebody, in theory, you've talked about STDs.
Yeah, I mean, most things you can get from blood, you can also get from other sexual fluids. Not everything though, like hepatitis B, no, C is only blood. I think so. Hepatitis C, I'm pretty sure, is only bloodborne. Hepatitis B is sexual based, and hepatitis A is fecal matter. So like if someone has like hep C, you can not get it from sex, but you might get it from like having sex when they're on their period, or if a 90-year-old lady falls and is bleeding out on you.
Well, thank you for that, Liam.
You're welcome.
I didn't help her because I was too worried she like hit her head. So we called an ambulance. But then the other thing, do you know how many people, so I went down a little deep dive after reading this article. There are so many people who will do art, which is like art of them exposing their menstruation. Have you seen any of this?
I actually know someone who did that.
Yeah, I actually saw one in my Instagram yesterday. It was just like a vagina shot and the underpants were just like covered in blood.
Oh,
and
that's not awesome.
They get removed. Like, it is so common for this type of art to get removed because people report it as disgusting.
Huh. So I wasn't thinking that art. My Jay's old roommate, her sister is an artist, and during high school, like, and maybe after high school, she made paintings with her menstrual blood.
Oh, I was not talking about that.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
No, I'm talking about like photography of like or like, do you know how many runners I run? Like if you're running a marathon, and I run very slow, right? I'm gonna run a marathon. It's gonna take me 6 hours. If I'm on day 2 of menstruation, I am going to be gushing blood through a tampon within that 6 hours. And so there's all these pictures of lady runners who are running and they just have like blood, and people are like, that's disgusting. It's like, this person just ran 26 miles and you're like worried. She's probably sweating and disgusting. But yeah, let's talk about her menstruation.
You know what? I feel like if I saw that, I'd be more concerned that she was like injured. I'd be like, is she like chafing so much she's bleeding? My brain wouldn't even go to menstruation.
Or you would feel bad for her because you'd probably think like, oh, this poor person is like probably embarrassed, right? Because society is judging her. But yeah, no, like, listen, I was supposed to run the New York City Marathon. It was canceled. But like, if I was menstruating, I can promise you this, there would be blood within, I mean, it's gonna take me 6 hours. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's normalize bleeding, unless you want to also cancel saliva feces and every other fluid, which is equally as gross.
Definitely. I'm all about like normalizing periods, like not finding them gross. I grew up with 4 women who menstruate when I was a kid. So like periods were like nothing to me. I never like found them weird or gross or anything.
Yeah. But you do find snot gross.
Yeah, oh my God, disgusting. And like not even snot. I mean, yeah, that's not disgusting. But like the shooting out of your nose of it, like even if I'm like across the room, I'm always worried it's gonna get in my drink or something. And I have to like if I'm drinking something and someone blows their nose, I have to throw out my drink. Just won't drink it.
Really?
Yeah. Disgusting.
I'm trying to think of what fluid I find most disgusting. I guess it would be feces, yeah.
They're all equal to you. Oh, feces, okay.
Well, I don't mind urine, because urine is nothing. I don't mind snot. I don't mind blood. What am I forgetting? Earwax?
Anyways, yeah. Belly button lint.
Oh.
That's a gross one.
Well, because belly buttons smell.
Yeah.
Oh my God, sometimes my belly button is just disgusting after a hot run. Sorry, everybody.
You know what's funny is like this isn't the first time we've talked about how gross your belly button smells after a run.
It's because it's like in the summer, it is just an experience. Because I wear a high-waisted short, so there's no air.
Oh, okay.
It like traps everything in there.
That's
Sorry,
all sting.
now you know. I do clean it though. Okay, so next week Tamika is going to be here with me.
Yes, I'm gonna be on vacation. I'm camping. So Tamika, our amazing coworker, is going to be covering for me, and she's dope. So I can't wait to see what she does.
Yeah, and she'll have to watch this to know what we do.
Definitely. And if anything messes up, we blame Lynn.
Yeah, it will be my fault. So anyway, smash this. I like the phrase. I just love the phrase "smash the like button."
Smash that like button.
So absurd.
Hit the bell if you want to get notifications.
Anyway, thanks, Liam. I hope you have a good long weekend.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, happy holiday and everybody. Hopefully most of y'all are off tomorrow. I know I am.
Oh, and Hamilton comes out tomorrow.
And oh yeah, Hamilton comes out tomorrow. So if you want to join the Connection Watch Party, hit us up on Facebook.
Actually, I canceled it.
What?
I canceled the watch party.
Oh, never mind.
I have a sore throat and I'm trying to stay home.
That's nice. Yeah, self-care is important. Making sure that you don't like lose your voice.
Yep. Okay.
Right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.